You sent us a YouTube video raising some pretty serious questions about the balance of power in the U.S. government.
Hmm.
So we've taken a deep dive into it, really tried to pull out what you need to know,
Yeah,
cut through the noise.
exactly. And the source this time is a video from the Ring of Fire channel. It's focused on an executive order signed by Donald Trump.
Right.
And it looks at the potential ramifications for, well, how laws get interpreted and the whole role of the courts in our system.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. The video title is pretty blunt. Trump orders agencies to listen to him and ignore the courts. That's
Well,
quite the assertion right off the bat.
it is.
So our mission here really is to understand what this executive order is all about, according to the video, and why it's generating this kind of discussion.
Well, the video kicks off by suggesting that maybe the media or public attention was focused elsewhere, like things said on social media. But the presenter argues that something potentially more significant happened with the signing of this executive order. They claim it's about consolidating interpretive power, within the executive branch.
Right, and here's where it gets interesting, I think. The video gives some background, mentioning the numerous executive orders from Trump's previous term.
Yeah, and the legal challenges they faced.
Exactly. And a key point the video emphasizes is that apparently none of the challenges brought by his legal team were actually successful in court.
It's probably worth clarifying, as the video does, that these were often temporary restraining orders or injunctions.
Ah, okay. Provisional measures.
Right, provisional. They halt something temporarily while the courts take a longer look. But the video's interpretation is that getting these orders issued repeatedly showed, well, a certain level of frustration within the administration.
And the video seems to suggest that this frustration directly led to this new executive order being issued. So what does the order actually say, according to the video transcript we looked at?
Okay, so according to that transcript, the order basically tells federal agencies, well, that they shouldn't necessarily be bound by court rulings.
Really?
Yeah. The directive, as presented in the video, is that agencies should listen to Donald J. Trump over the interpretations coming from the courts. The video even quotes it, saying the president and the attorney general will interpret the law for the executive branch.
Wow. Okay, that's a significant claim. The video goes on, right? It says the order also extends presidential oversight to independent agencies.
That's right. And interestingly, it apparently claims to be reestablishing a long-standing norm that only the president or the attorney general can speak for the U.S. on how laws are interpreted.
A long-standing norm.
What's fascinating, though, is the video's immediate reaction. The commentator calls it obviously unconstitutional, just flat out.
Okay.
They really stress the separation of powers principle, emphasizing that the judicial branch is the one tasked by the Constitution with interpreting the law.
Right. The video really hammers that point home, saying it's literally their job, the court's job, to interpret laws. So the argument presented is that by issuing this order, Trump is, and I'm quoting the video here, basically really declaring himself king. And the video asserts this action, not the social media stuff, is the truly significant event.
Yeah, and connecting it to the bigger picture. The video paints a pretty stark scenario. They characterize this as how you start a coup in broad daylight.
That's incredibly strong language.
It is. It definitely highlights how severe they view this executive order. They even throw in the detail that this reportedly happened after a morning of golfing.
Right, which kind of adds this layer of, I don't know, perceived nonchalance to what they see as a monumental action.
Exactly. So then the video looks ahead naturally to what might happen with this order.
Predictably, legal challenges.
Absolutely. The commentator anticipates challenges and, well, they express a strong hope that the challenges succeed and the order gets overturned.
Which inevitably brings the Supreme Court into the conversation.
It does. The video uses Trump's previous executive order on birthright citizenship as an example of something that could end up before the highest court.
Okay.
And they express some uncertainty about how the current Supreme Court might rule, specifically pointing out the justices appointed by Trump.
That's a critical point they raise. The video suggests that, in a more traditional, maybe nonpartisan court, this kind of order would likely be rejected, maybe even unanimously.
Right.
But given the court's current makeup, the video expresses real apprehension about the outcome.
Yeah, the ultimate concern voiced in the video is, well, it's pretty blunt. It's the possibility the Supreme Court could uphold the order.
And the implication of that.
The commentator suggests that would fundamentally shift the balance of power, leading to a situation where, in their view, Trump does become king. It implies a major departure from established legal norms.
Okay, so for everyone listening, the key takeaway from this deep dive into the Ring of Fire's analysis is this. The YouTube transcript we reviewed details an executive order that the source argues directly challenges the established role of the judicial branch.
It posits a move to centralize the power to interpret law firmly within the executive branch, directed by the President and Attorney General.
And it's crucial, as the video stresses, to keep in mind the potential future here. Likely legal battles, significant uncertainty about the Supreme Court's eventual ruling.
And the very serious concerns raised by the video's creator about what this could mean for the separation of powers in the U.S. government long term.
So it leaves us with a thought. Considering that the separation of powers is, a foundational principle meant to keep any one branch from getting too powerful, what are the broader implications for governance if one branch were to successfully assert the sole authority to interpret law? This deep dive into the claims made in this YouTube video certainly raises fundamental questions about checks and balances today. What aspects of this issue do you find most concerning, or perhaps warrant further reflection on your own?